Hello everyone. Hi, I'm Jane. I will be the host of today's webinar and we are ready to start. We continue the series of live webinars about Yandex.Direct and Yandex Metrica, and after every single webinar we asking you what we should discuss next, and you asked a lot about different types of bidding strategies, and that's why we chose for today that theme, and today we will talk a lot about different bidding strategies. First of all, I want to say that today I choose to be focused only on type and image ads campaign because from that type of campaign you can create search campaign and ad network campaign, the most common types of campaign which are used by our clients, and that's why I choose to be focused on that type of campaign. And if you will run other types of campaign, you will use actually the same logic, how you will choose right strategy and set the settings up, and that's why we will talk about that today. Other thing, I can divide all bidding strategies onto big category. First, that is manual bid strategy, when you should by yourself set the amount of bidding on targeting level and analyze the data and control bidding process and change bids every time. Or you can use automated bid strategy, or as we can say about them, like smart bidding strategies, and the system will help you to raise or decrease bids according to how high probability of that potential customer to convert to order, for example. And actually I choose to be focused more today on automated bid strategy, and I want to explain myself why we will talk more about them. First of all, automated bid strategy can take into account a lot of signals about everything. Who that person who is, for example, typing search query, where that person located now, how he is usually behave himself, which campaign settings do we have, even the weather, and we can't take into account all that signals by ourselves. It's just impossible. But if we use automated bid strategy, the system which see all the signals help us to change our bids according to that. Other thing which I really like about smart bidding, because it helps save our time. Automatic bid strategy save a lot of time, and you can spend that time to, for example, analyzing data, to creating some new hypothesis in taste exam. You can spend that time on improving your landing page, and etc, etc, and that is really important. And the main thing that with them you will stay more focused on your business value and your business profit, and I think that is really great. And actually with automated bid strategy we can achieve better result. If we will talk about average situation which you can gain with them, that would be around 25% of additional conversions, and you can reduce in half cost per action. And we have a lot of different client cases, and Yelena now will send to you some links with specific client cases. Some of them would be on English, some of them would be on Russian. You can by yourself just find out how clients could switch from manual bid strategy to automatic bid strategy, and what result you can achieve with that. But again, if we talk about average result, you can see that on the slide, and I think that is enough reasons to at least try them. Today we would talk a lot about bidding strategies, and we would do that in 3 steps. First of all, we will explore with you in live demo in real Yandex interface which bidding strategies do we have in Yandex.Direct, and we will talk about how we should choose the right strategy for our campaign. After that, we will go to the second step, and I will give to you more details about how the system works and what we should know before we will start our automatic bid strategy, and how we should prepare campaign for that. And on the last step, we will talk about that, what we should do after the running bee strategy. And as a bonus on the last step, I will show you the technology which we have in Yandex.Direct, which help us to run A/B tests. I hope you will stay and enjoy today's session, and let's dive into our first part. I want to start that part from dividing all types of strategy on 3 types, and I would do that based on which parameter strategy help us to optimize. Strategy can help us optimize clicks, conversions, or return on investments, and actually we have a lot of strategy for every that parameter, and let's dive into real interface and look how we can set up right setting for that. That is our Yandex.Direct interface, and as you know, bid strategy should be chosen on campaign level, and for that we should go to the campaign settings page, and for that I would choose, for example, that campaign, and you should press on the gear button and choose from the drop down menu option edit. On campaign settings page, we have special block which named strategy, and bid strategy should be chosen here. As you know, and as I said today, you can create from text and image ads type of campaign, search campaign, ad network campaign, and actually can run in a mix, and here you can choose that option, but I recommend you to split campaigns and create separately search and network campaign. Let's start exploring our bid strategy from manual bid type of bid strategy. For me, actually, manual bid strategy also about optimizing clicks, but here that shown separately. Choose which type of bid strategy you need. After that, you can choose attribution model, and you should set up some additional parameters, like choose which budget spending mode you would use. By default, that is standard budget mode, but we have also distributed mode. You can use this distributed mode if you need to control how money is spending during the day, and do that really equally through hours. But I recommend you to stick actually with standard budget spending, because that will help you to attract more clients and not be inside of that limitation. Also, for manual bid strategy, you should choose some limitation like day budget cap. For example, I can choose that budget cap, and when you're done with settings, you should press the done button and go down to that page and press the save to apply that settings for real campaign. I think you take notice that we have manual bid management with optimization. With optimization, okay, let's discuss what does that mean and how we can control that optimization. Actually, when you use manual bid strategy, the system also help a little bit to achieve a better result. And system in every situation do that based on average knowledge about your business type, because system help to attract more engaged people. But actually you can help to the system understand who is people which you want to attract by your campaign, and for that you should use Yandex Metrica tracking and priority goals. And actually let's just explore how we can create connection of Yandex Metrica with Yandex.Direct and gain that information about conversions to the system. I think you know Yandex Metrica, that is our free analytics tools. You can track conversions with that system, and for that you should create Yandex Metrica tag, and after that you should create connection between Yandex.Direct and Yandex Metrica to give information from Yandex Metrica to Yandex.Direct. And for that, in a block of Yandex Matic Attack, you should choose from drop-down menu Yandex Matic Attack, which would be used for your campaign, and turn on tag links for Yandex Matic and press apply button. After that, you can go to the block with priority goals, and in that block you would give information to the system. What is your potential customer, how we can describe that for the system. And as you can see, by default here is used engaged sessions. That is average client for your type of business. But if you have tracking of conversions with Yandex.Direct, you can gain more details about that. And for that, just press add a priority goal button and choose a goal from drop-down menu. For me, that is that one goal. And here you should also choose value of your goal, and based on that, system will understand how that conversion is important for your business. If you choose at least one goal, you can delete engagement sessions and press the done button. That was all about how we should set up manual bid strategy if you use for some reasons that strategy, but as I said, automatic bid strategy can gain us better result, and let's explore them. I want to start from click optimization because that types of strategies are more likened to manual bid strategy, because that also all about optimization of amount or cost of your click. As you can see here, we have three options here: average CPC, weekly budget, and click package. When you choose average CPC, you will give to the system information about what CPC you want to have as an average after a week, and system would try to attract people inside of that limitation as many as system can. When you use weekly budget, you will set up a budget cap for week, and system would help to attract as many people as system can, but inside of that limitation, and obviously with low CPC as system can. And if we will choose click package to our campaign, the system will help to attract a specific amount of clicks during the week, and don't matter which budget would be spent to attract that amount of clicks, and which CPC we would have as a result. I want to remind one little thing which could be really important. Every time when we're talking about something weekly, that means we are talking about calendar week from Monday to Saturday. That means if you, for example, run your campaign with weekly budget in the middle of week, for example, at Wednesday, all weekly budget would be spent until the Saturday, and in the Monday your budget would be restart. Just remember about that when you use weekly budget and weekly packages also. As you can see, for every that type of strategy, we can choose which attribution model we want to have. For example, I usually stick with last visit from Yandex.Direct. And for every type of strategy, you can have some additional limitations. For example, for average CPC, you can set up additional budget cap. For weekly budget, you can set up additional limitation, for example, for cost per click. And for click packages, you can limit both of that. And actually, you can use that limitation, and that is okay if to you really important to control that parameters, but I will not recommend you to make that limitations too tight, because that would create some additional difficulties to the system, and a system sometimes just cannot attract the desired result for your campaign if you have too tight limitations. And as you can see, for all that types of strategies with click optimization, we do not set up some goals. We do not give to the system information about what is our conversions actually. That means for that type of strategies, our priority goals, which we set up on the previous step, also will be used as information for optimization. Set here what system should take into account as the conversions, and system will help you to achieve better result. That was all about click optimization, and let's actually go to the next my favorite types of strategies, which is conversion optimization. I usually use that types of strategies because they gain us the best result, and we have two different types of conversion optimization strategies. First type, that is average CPA, or as we can say about that, like target CPA, and we have weekly budget strategy. Let's start from average CPA. Obviously, for that strategy, you should limit your CPA. For example, you can choose amount of your target CPA which you wanna see as a result for that campaign. And here you should choose which goal should be used from Yandex.Metrica as the conversions for optimizing that campaign. You can choose one goal from drop-down menu. For example, in my case, I would choose that one, or you can choose all goals. If you have, for example, two conversions like filling the form and calls from your call tracking, and you can, for that case, choose all goals. For that type of strategy, you also can set up some additional limitations. Here you can limit and set up some budget cap for week, like that, for example, and here you also limit cost per click. Again, you can use that limitations, but I will not recommend you to use limitation for cost per click. If really need to use budget cap, use that, but again, remember not to set too tight limitation, and after maybe 10 minutes I will say a little bit more about why we should have that budget cap. Let's look at the weekly budget. A weekly budget strategy is a really great strategy if you don't know how many conversions you can gain from that campaign, or maybe you didn't find out what target CPA you want to have from that campaign. Here you also should choose one goal for optimization, or all goals from Yandex.Metrica, and here for weekly budget you should definitely set up weekly budget. As you can see, you also can limit cost per click, but I will not recommend you to use that limitation. Okay, actually I think now we're ready to move to the last type of strategy, which is optimize return on investment. Here we have only one option. For that strategy, actually system help us to attract as many conversions as system can, but inside of the limitation of return on investment. And for correctly working that campaign, you should give information not only about conversions, you should give information about conversion value. You can do that by different ways. You can do that in Yandex.Metrica, or you can add that information in priority goal box also. As you remember, we set their conversion value. For that type of campaign strategy, you should choose which goals would be used for optimizing that campaign. Again, you can choose one conversion from that drop-down list. You can choose all goals, or you can choose all priority goals, and in all priority goals on priority box you can choose, for example, two different types of conversion and set the different conversion value. Okay, Definitely for that type of strategy, we should set up some limitation for return on investment. When you start do that, some additional information would be shown to you and help you to think about what amount of ROI you should set up. One thing, set the realistic return on investment parameter, because if you would stick with too high return on investment, campaign can be just too limit and maybe not start. Stick with some real limitation like that, for example, 1.5. Also here you can choose some additional parameters for that campaign. You can choose which reinvest in advertising you want to have. You can stick with 100%, or you can choose other parameter. Also choose which attribution model should be used for that campaign. And you have advanced settings where you can set up some additional limitation for that campaign. For example, like cost per click limitation and budget cap. But for that type of strategy, I will not recommend you to set some additional limitations. Enough set up ROI and which goals should be used for optimization. Again, when you are fully done with whole settings for your strategy, in strategy box, press done button, and for applying that changes to real campaign, you should go down and press to the save button. Okay, now we actually explored all different types of bidding strategies which we have in Yandex.Direct, and I want to a little bit sum up that information for you. And for choosing right strategy for your campaign, you should answer to 2 questions about your campaign. What is the main goal of your campaign? What you should optimize in that campaign? Clicks, conversions, or return on investments? And second question is, what is which parameter you should control in that campaign? What parameter you want to limit on that campaign? And based on that information, you can choose right strategy for your campaign. That was our first part. Now we know which types of bid strategy we have. Let's dive into our second part and talk a little bit more in details about how the system works. For me, actually, all smart bidding strategies, all automated bid strategy, just they are like a black box, and inside of that black box is placed artificial intelligence, which analyzed a lot of signals from a campaign, from a person who we're bidding for, and based on that signals, the system gives as a result some amount of bid. We can actually influence on campaigns information, because we can't influence on information about our potential customer. And I wanna talk with you about what we can do about that campaign information to improve performance of our campaign. First of all, I would divide all that campaign information into 2 parts. First of all, and really important part of information, that information about what is our conversions for that campaign, and other part, other campaign settings which also influence on our final result. And let's start from talking about our conversions. As I said before, for tracking conversions, we have special free analytics tools, which is Yandex.Metrica, and I hope you are using that tool for improving performance of your campaign. To track conversions, you should first of all set up Yandex.Metrica tag on every single page of your website. You should use tracking conversions as a goals with Yandex.Metrica. After that, you should connect Yandex.Metrica with Yandex.Direct to transfer that information to Yandex.Direct about conversions, and I have shown to you how you can do that. And specific for your campaign, you should set up in priority goals, or maybe on settings of your bid strategy, what specific goal should be used to optimizing your campaign. And for that, you should choose which goals would be used. I think that is obvious that if we have more conversions, we would have a better result. But sometimes for some types of businesses, we do not have a lot of conversions. We have some conversions. And really often question which I hear from my clients, how much conversions we should have to start our automated bid strategy. And actually we have that amount. Recommended minimum is 10 conversions per week for one campaign. But what we should do if we do not have that 10 conversions per week? We can't use automated bid strategy in that case. Actually, it's not true, and we can use in that case automated bid strategy also. If you have less than 10 conversions per week and you have some sales funnel, you can just go upper on 1, 2 or 3 steps, and until you will achieve 10 conversions per week from that step. I use that approach for one of my clients, and actually we achieved together great result. We maximize our conversions, and that is worked. If you have the same situation, just try that approach, and I hope you will also have the great result. Other thing which I also often hear from clients, okay, we understand about 10 conversions per week, but that is new campaign, and actually we don't know how much conversions from that campaign we could gain, and which target CPA we would have as a result. And for that situation, I will recommend you to try conversion optimization with weekly budget and just find out that information. Other really important question which I want to discuss with you, and I start talking about that on the previous tab, which budget cap we should set up for our campaigns if we use budget cap. Now we know that we should have more than 10 conversions per week. Okay, at least 10 conversions per week. And usually we know what target CPA for one conversion we have. From that, we can calculate the minimum budget, which is 10 times of our target CPA. But actually, I recommend you to stick with a little bit higher budget limit, like 1.5 of your 10 target CPAs, because if you will use not so big budget cap, sometimes system would be too tight with limitations, and the system will be really difficult to bid for some specific really profitable for your client, and you can just lose that client. And to avoid the situation, just set up a little bit higher budget cap. We discussed a lot about how many conversions we should have, and let's discuss about how we can influence on our campaign settings, how we should prepare our campaign to achieve at the end the better result. Let's do that. I would show to you some milestones in that process, what we should think about when we prepare in our campaign, and let's start from our campaign structure, because I think that is the basic information which we should think when we're preparing our campaign. You can achieve better result if you have different types of traffic with different target CPA, if you will split that traffic to different campaigns. For example, as usual practice for Russia, for example, you would divide Moscow from other part of Russia, because Moscow region generated more expensive conversions. Also better to divide brand competitors traffic from general traffic. Also, if you have really wide product categories, you also should divide some types of product from another type to achieve better result. But one thing which really important to remember about that, we should have 10 conversion per week for every single campaign. If we will not have that amount of conversions after dividing different types of traffic, better not divide the traffic, because at the end you would have better result with automated strategy than with manual, but with divided campaigns. Other main milestones which should be taken in mind that how high quality ads you have in your campaign. Try to create as good ads as you can. Think about which unique selling points, which offer you have on your ads, how that offer is differ from offers of your competitors, how information which your potential customer can see from ads to landing page is consistent. And if you will create as good ads as you can, you will achieve better result at the end. And last thing which I want to remind you about preparing your campaign, really important thing, not only about campaign, also on the final result, really influence how high quality of our landing page, how that landing page can convert our potential customers to our orders. Think about how fast your web pages is loading, how high conversion rate you have, what again information, unique selling points and offers you are using on your web pages. Think about that, optimize that, and you also with that will achieve better result. That was all about how we should prepare our campaigns and what we should take into our mind when we thinking about start using automated strategy. But what we should do after we run them, and when we can actually first analyze our first result. Let's start from talking about when we can analyze first result. Again, that scheme of our system, how the system works. We talked a lot about how important information which collected by the system, because based on the system would be predict which person would be profitable for your business, and really important amount of the data, because our strategy should have enough information to optimize your campaign. And based on that, we can understand that we have some learning period for our campaign. During that period, campaign would collect data about your customers and would learn how the system could attract more and more profitable clients for your business. Usually that period is around 2 weeks. It's not a solid time. Actually, if you have a lot of conversions, that time could be shortly. But really important, not change anything during the learning period and just give some time to the system to learn and to improve your campaign. I said thing that you shouldn't change anything in your campaign and on your landing page during that time period, because if you change, for example, budget cap, target CPA or something else, system would restart, and that learning period would start from scratch, and you should wait more 2 weeks after that. To avoid the situation, just stick with your first settings and just give to the system some time. Other really often question which I asked by my clients, we run our campaign, but campaign can't spend our budget. We should spend that budget and attract customers to our website, but campaign is not going on well. And for that situation, I will recommend really simple thing: just change limitations for your campaign. If campaign is not spending enough weekly budget, that means you set up some too tight limitations. Raise cost per click if you set the limitation for that. Raise cost per action, and sometimes you should add some targeting, like some additional keywords, for example, if that is search campaign, and your budget cap would be spent and conversions would be attracted. Other thing, if we run our campaign and actually everything is going well and we spend all weekly budget, I recommend you to just raise campaign budget and attract more customers to your website. I think that would be great. From that slide, we would discuss how we can work with our campaign after the running bid strategy, and what the main points where we can control campaign and how we can adjust our campaign to achieve better result. And first thing which I want to discuss with you, that is search query report. As you know, you can use that report to gain new ideas for keywords and negative keywords. And I have my small technique which I'm using when I'm working with that report. If I'm trying to find out new negative keywords, I'm add in that report bounce rate, and I sort search queries with worst bounce rate higher and look through them for negative keywords. Otherwise, if I'm trying to find new keywords, I'm just sort to the top. The most popular is as impressions search queries, and look inside of them. You also can use that and save time with work with search query. Other thing which you should think about to improve performance of your campaign, that is quality of your ads. Actually, no one can create the best ads from the scratch, and better to run A/B test with different ads. You can test, for example, pictures, headlines, descriptions, and etc. etc. And if you testing that, you can use two different technologies. You can add two different ads inside of one ad group, and use some tracking parameter like UTM content ads 1 and ads 2, and analyze the data after, for example, a couple of weeks. Or you can use special technology in Yandex.Direct, and I today will show you that technology, and run A/B test with two different campaigns with different ads, and look what would be better for your business. Other thing which usually used for optimizing campaign, that is bid adjustments. But actually, if you're using automatic bid strategy, you should be really careful about editing your bid adjustment to campaign, because okay, let's discuss why. Actually, I prepared some example. For example, you run bid strategy with optimization of conversion with target CPA. You give to the system information about what is your leads, and after analyzing the result, you see that some segment of audience have really great cost per action, and you want to maximize that segment of your audience. In that situation, what you usually would do, you would raise bids for that with using positive bid adjustments, like 30%, for example. But actually, what would happen in the situation if you're using automated bid strategy? System would see that is profitable segment of audience for you, and system would also raise bid for that type of audience. And as a result, we would have two positive bid adjustments, and as a result, we can just have too hot and too high target CPA and average CPA on that campaign. But how we can actually use our bid adjustment to achieve better result with automated bid strategy? Let's imagine the situation when we again have a campaign with conversion optimization with average CPA. We see that our leads is going great, and we have really well cost per action. But the system don't know information about how that leads convert to our orders, for example. And when we analyzing results from a CRM system, we see that orders cost for us more from that type of audience. In that situation, system would raise for that type of audience bid. But if we know that type of audience are not good converted to our orders, we can add some negative bid adjustments and give to the system just additional information, and by that we would improve performance of our campaign and achieve better result. Just remember about that and use bid adjustments really wisely. Actually, we talked a lot today about different types of bid adjustments. I said a lot about automatic bid adjustment and how you can gain additional result with that. But maybe you still have some concerns about that, maybe you still have some doubts, and in that case I have two additional pieces of information which I want to give to you. First of all, for every automatic bid strategy we have some additional limitations which are preset. First of all, bid cannot be raised higher than 10% of weekly budget. That means we have by default limitations for cost per click. Also, by default, we have some limitations for daily budget, because during one day campaign cannot spend more than 35% of your weekly budget, and that is budget cap. Other thing which I want to remind you, we have in our system really solid budget cap. If you choose, for example, 100 for one day, system cannot spend more than that 100, and that is really comfortable to using, and you also protecting by that from overspending. But as you remember, for every type of campaign strategy we have some limitations, and if that preset limitations are not enough for you, you can use additional limitations. You can limit daily budget, for example, but again, remember not to set too tight that limitations, because for system, if you will use, for example, too small a daily budget or weekly budget, would be really difficult to attract people during the day, because sometimes system, if see really profitable customer, would bid for that more and more. Other thing, if you have some concerns and you don't know what would be profitable for that campaign, for specific for your business, you can compare manual bid strategy and automatic bid strategy. For that, you can run A/B test in special Yandex.Direct technology, and let's go to Yandex.Direct and Yandex Audience Instrument and find out how we can do that. For that, I will switch back to our Yandex.Direct. Up here in the left corner, I would choose Audience. That is special instrument in Yandex which help us to work with different audience. For example, run campaigns for segment from CRM, for example. And here we need to choose Experiment tab. For create new experiment, if we want to compare manual and automatic bid strategy for our campaign, press the create experiment button and choose name for that experiment. For example, that would be a search campaign manual with auto. You should choose which Yandex Meta tag would be used to creating and running that experiment. And after that, here you should choose how you want to run that experiment. You can divide all audience 50-50, or you can choose other splits, but I prefer actually to stick with 50-50. Create a segment experiment. Okay, and after that we should go back to Yandex.Direct and prepare and run our experiment. You can do that by choosing direct here. And for example, let's create experiment for that campaign. If you want to create experiment for that parent campaign, you should stop that parent campaign, copy that twice, and in new two campaigns, you should choose in experiment block that segment from Yandex audience, and after that change settings in the campaign settings, for example. I will not copy actually campaign, I will just go deep down and show to you how you should choose that experiment. In advanced settings, we have experiment block, and if that campaign connected to Yandex Metrica, you can do that. Choose targeting by segment and choose which segment would be used to create that experiment. Press done button, and after that, remember, go to campaign settings and for example, choose strategy which would be tested, like ROI by manual bid strategy, for example. And you should do that for both campaign, run them at the same time and wait a little bit, and after that you can analyze the result and decide what actually with statistic would be profitable more for your business. That was all for today. I want to a little bit sum up all that information. First of all, I really like automatic bid strategy, and I encourage you to try them, especially if you have a lot of conversions. Automatic bid strategy help us achieve better result and save more time and stay more focused on our business profit. For choosing right strategy for your campaign, you should think about two parameters: what you want to optimize in your campaign and what you want to control in your campaign. And remember, really important, how you prepared your campaign and how you're working with your campaign after running bid strategy, because from that also a result would be really depend on it. Save that time and analyze data, try new hypotheses, and improve other performance of your campaign. That, I think, last call for questions, and now Yelena will give to me the list of most popular questions, and we will discuss them together. Now we have 3 questions. Let's discuss that. First question about priority goals. How does it affect on performance of our campaign, if we use that or not, and which cases we have for that. I would go back to Yandex.Direct interface and show to you again that block with priority goal. We using with our system priority goal to give to the system additional information about what your goals of your campaign, what conversions should be taken into account to optimizing performance of our campaign. And priority goals works for all different bidding strategies. Inside, if we not have goals inside of that bid strategy in the strategy box, you can run that types of strategy without priority goals, but you can achieve better result if you will use priority goals, because the system will better understand who that client which should be attracted by your campaign. And if you have and set up here conversion value, system would be understand which goal more valuable to you, and take that also into account and help to achieve better result at the end. I hope I answered that question. Second question is about weekly budget. Is that possible to add an exclusion for certain days? I'm sorry, no. If you're using weekly budget, you set up some limitation for 1 week. You can use, if you use manual bid strategy, some additional bid adjustment and play with which bids would be used for a specific day. But if you use automatic bid strategy and you use weekly budget, actually system would understand by himself how bids should be adjusted for that day, if in that day if customers in that day will not be profitable to you. A second part of that question, you can you can use impression schedule if you need, for example, except the day, but otherwise use just weekly budget. And last, our question is about CPA strategy. In what spheres I would recommend to use that automatic bid strategy? Actually, I have a lot of clients, and with majority of my clients are using average CPA strategy, because I think that more popular and more effective strategy. And for that strategy, you shouldn't know your conversion value, because sometimes clients have problems with that. I will recommend you to run that type of strategy, and at least try that type of strategy for every single type of business, because I know a lot of cases from sales vehicles, some IT structures, and etc. And you just can try that and find out how that would be really work for your type of business. Just remember about having enough conversions for one campaign, and do not interrupt the learning period of campaign. That's all. We had 3 questions, and I think that is all. If you do not have more questions for today, I want to say thank you for sticking with us today. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy, and thank you. Bye.